Hello and welcome back to the Student Hub Live. Well, we've been having a fabulous day today at our open day where we've been meeting lots and lots of people at the OU and showing you a bit around campus. I really hope you've been enjoying it. Do put your comments in the chat box. Let us know what you think. There's a feedback form on the website as well, so if you've got any ideas or suggestions, do let us know, and don't forget to be added to our email subscription list. Put the Count Me In button in from the Student Hub Live website. We'll add you to the list and let you know when the next event is on, which is actually the 31st of July. We're going to be doing something on levelling between level 1, level 2, year 1, year 2, talking to students who may need to resit. We've got a really great programme, and of course we're going to be doing some boot camps in September prior to the module start. But oh, there's somebody I know actually. Let me go and have a chat to Steve, because he's been doing the More Students Qualifying initiative, which is really going to be valuable for new students. Steve, sorry to corner you. Hello. We're doing this open day for students. So MSQ, More Students Qualifying, what have you been doing today, and what do new students need to know about this?
Well, we've basically got an initiative going on to make sure that our students are more successful and trying to do as much more that we can support them in their induction, in their early stages of study, and all the way through to progression. So this morning I've actually been running a workshop with a number of people from the academic faculties and from some of our support services, from the student registration and support centres, and from marketing, to talk through what our future student journey could look like, and exploring how we could be adding taster modules, how we can be adding other levels of support for students. It's very exciting, and it is the first stage of what is a major transformation of how we're going to be delivering our student experience, and we will be asking students for their input as we go forward. We're just starting it off at the moment. It's very early days, but we can't do this without the input from students to hear what they would really like and want to see.
Now, one thing I know about your office is they're so keen on getting the student voice, and there's a range of ways that students can connect with us on various forums and by joining the Open University Students Association and things. What one thing would you say to students who may think, well, I don't really have much of a voice? Why does it matter to have such a range of voices in this whole transformation?
Well, obviously we have got such a diverse number of students and different needs, different backgrounds, and so we could listen just to one vocal group and then we wouldn't be meeting everyone's needs. So whoever you are, whatever your requirement might be, it's really important if you can try and get your voice heard. But there are opportunities to do that. We will be running a series of consultation events as we go over through the summer and into the next academic year, for opportunities for people to hear what we're doing, to feedback on what we're doing, but also to give us new ideas. You know, we can sit in a room and design things, but we really want the students' views, which is really important to us.
And of course, it's a nice chance for students to come onto campus if they're
Fantastic,
so lucky to be invited and meet people here as well. Brilliant, excellent. Thank you so much.
Well, good luck with the rest of the day.
Oh, thank you. Excellent. Oh, good. I'm glad I got to talk to Steve, because there's so many more things at the Open University than all of our academic and service departments. So it's really nice to meet some other people who do all of the other things around here. But listen, Helen, thank you for coming along. Helen is from the Open University Library, and we've got some videos showing the physical library, which is just over by there. But I wanted to talk to you about the online library, Helen, because this is going to be a really valuable source of information for students, and you guys deliver some excellent training opportunities on things like, you know, managing your digital media and digital identity and all sorts of things, in addition to referencing and literature searching. Sure. So tell us, what is this online library that students are going to find, and where do they find it?
Okay, if I may, could I take a step back and talk a little bit about the history of the OU?
Oh yes, because we've been doing that today. Perfect.
Yeah. So when I knew that we were going to be on the Mulberry Lawn, I went to the OU Digital Archive, the OUDA, which anybody can access if they just Google Open University Digital Archive, and we have an historical image collection on there that's open to the public, and I had a look and I saw what I can find, and I found one of this area from 1973, and I tweeted it, and your account retweeted it, so if anybody wants to check that out, they can.
Because it's important to make sure that it's not false information, isn't it?
Exactly.
Especially on social media.
Yes. Yeah, no, thank you for that, Karen. Yeah. And I also, because we've just had a video of the Jenny Lee building, which I'm looking at now, that used to be the location of the old library. Wow. Which was very brown, as you can see.
Yes.
And when I started work here in 2003, this is the building that I worked in. And then we moved out and it was demolished and replaced by this very pretty building in front of us. But all that is to say that for the first 3 decades of the history of the OU, the library was very much an on-campus library focused on the needs of the the research of the staff on campus and their course writing needs, basically. But then at the turn of the millennium, when lots more library resources became available online, our focus shifted and we were able to support students. And we're very much now an online library. So that's where our focus is, where the majority of our information resources budget goes. So the online library is based, it's a website. So students can get to it by going via Student Home, by their module website, or by just Googling Open University Library. And they'll come across our website, and that's how they access this collection of world-class resources. And of course, because it's online, you can access it anywhere with an internet connection, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So the kinds of resources that we have access to: we've got your academic journal articles, we've got books, we have things like newspapers, current and historic, we have audio-visual resources, law cases, anything that you could think of that would be in an academic library collection. I don't know if
they're all free, aren't they? Because those cost a fortune,
yes.
Which I know is a reason why a lot of academics still have a little course or something that they keep going so that they can access all of these journals.
Yes, I mean we do pay the publishers and the providers a lot of money so that students and staff can have access to these, and that access remains while you're registered on a module. And it's. These collections are wonderful. So I would say to anybody who's maybe a little bit daunted about how they get started with an online library, there are two approaches. I don't know what your approach is, Karen. Are you a person who, when you get a new gadget, you read the instruction manual from cover to cover? Or are you the kind of person who throws away the instruction manual and just plays on the buttons until something happens?
What do you think, Helen? Definitely the latter.
You see, I'm the former.
Which is why I often come to you organised, bunched, to help me.
I mean, I don't want to stereotype librarians, but I'm very much a let's read the instruction manual cover to cover. So those two approaches. So say if you're a Karen and you just want to get stuck in, I would say go to the library homepage. There's a library search box right in the middle of that. Pop in your words and your phrases and search and see what you get. You can't break it, have a play. And often you will find some really interesting material that you can then follow up on. And of course, because this is curated material that we've paid for, it's trusted, it's reliable, it's great stuff to reference in your assignments.
We were talking before about how students might, this summer, before they sort of get down to all the module material, do something that's their reason for studying. I mean, it's a great way to sort of look at something that you're interested in. You might sort of want to look at dementia, for example, and even if you're not studying anything to do with that, there's so much out there that you can start looking at, having a read of the abstracts and saying, actually, this is an interesting area, and it's another way of furthering your academic career, isn't it?
Oh, definitely, yes. And as you go through your studies with the OU, you will be required to be much more of an independent learner. Yeah. So referring to materials outside of that which is presented to you in the module. Yeah. And as you say, you'll get an interest in your subject, and you'll want to read around. Yeah.
But there are other ways of doing this as well. So you've got this sort of library things, and one of the things I know you're very good at is this whole managing your digital media and encouraging students to both evaluate trusted stuff on social media, but use those networks to support them in their studies, so that they can combine a lot of things together. How do you help students do those sorts of things?
Well, we run training sessions on these types of topics. Yeah. We sometimes run them in conjunction with modules. So you might, if you're on a particular module that has a library session, you might come across that, and we would encourage you to attend live or to view the recording. But we also offer a generic programme of library training that anybody can come along to, and that's advertised on the homepage of the library website. We're actually on a bit of a hiatus at the moment in July and August because of what Rodri and Zoe were talking about. We're moving over to Adobe Connect, so we're rewriting everything, but we'll pick up again in September, and we'll have sessions on, the how to do a search, how to evaluate, how to find information in your subject, that kind of thing. So that's one way that you can get started with the online library. If you're like me and you want to read the instruction manual before you actually start playing with the gadget, you can come along to an online training session. And we run them in the evenings, so they're convenient to OU students. Another way is to go to the Get Started guide that's linked to from the homepage of the library website, and that is just a quick, short guide on demystifying the online library, telling you what's available and how you get to grips with it. And we also have a help and support section that has answers to frequently asked questions and help articles and videos. For example, one of the ones that's looked at quite a lot is how to set up Google Scholar so that it works with our online collections. There's a setting that you can change so that if you prefer to use Google Scholar when you're searching, you can, with a couple of clicks, directly connect to the subscriptions that we pay for. And then, if all else fails, if you want to just talk to a person, there's the help desk. So 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. But outside of those hours, if you use our web chat, you will be put through to a partner librarian in the United States. So you could be talking to a librarian in Atlanta or Hawaii or Alaska. And a lot of the questions that our students ask can be answered by any librarian. It's about how to reference, how to do a literature search. If it's something that's more OU specific, or say one of our resources has gone down, they'll need to refer it back to us. But it's certainly worth trying if you're studying at like 2 in the morning, because we'll be in bed.
Now we're going to, our next video, we're going to show Catherine in the library, and
Excellent.
she mentions all of these various things. So I don't want to focus too much on that, because we'll be telling people about that in a second, things like how to access the help desk and things.
Sure.
But for students who are just sort of starting out, you mentioned that they might need to do a literature search at some point. I mean, that's probably level 2 or 3 that they're going to start wanting to do that. But equally, they've got this massive free resource that they can start playing with right now. So what would your advice to be to students who are just sort of starting to get up and running? Do they need to find these referencing tools? Should they be looking at research methods books? Because I, for one, especially because I don't read the manual, get lost in the library because there is so much there. So what's your sort of advice in terms of how to channel that enthusiasm and find things that will support you?
I would say start with the subject pages. So we have, we've picked out some of the choice resources in particular subject areas and put them under subject headings. So if you want to know what we have in social sciences, in psychology, then go to the psychology pages and just have a look at maybe a couple of the ebooks that we link to. But yeah, like you say, it can be a bit overwhelming. So don't start out trying to, you know, learn all the reference management tools or start out with an in-depth literature search. The reason that most OU students are studying is because they have an enthusiasm for their subject. So explore what we have in your subject, and hopefully that enthusiasm will grow, and then later on in your studying career with the Open University, you'll be able to actually draw on some of those sources and really impress your tutor.
Yes, absolutely. Now, one thing that you guys do that I love is you've got a really good Facebook page.
Oh, yes.
And you have been doing these fake news Friday things, which I love because it's 5 minutes or so, and there's just a little take-home piece of learning, which I find fabulous. How can people connect with you on Facebook and some of the things that you're doing for fun?
Yeah, so we have a Twitter account, which is OU_library, and we have a Facebook account, which is just Open University Library. You can find us by searching for that. And as you say, we've been doing some live videos in May in the lead up to the UK general election. We did some on fake news. Don't worry if you don't have a Twitter or a Facebook account. What we do is we take those videos, upload them to YouTube and add captions so you can watch them there. But we just find that that's another way to engage with students, to get that conversation started. So if you're not studying with us at the moment, unfortunately you won't be able to access the library resources, but you can engage with us on social media, and yeah, come and talk to us.
I'll send you a tweet. Helen, how do I do this reference?
We welcome those.
Excellent. Well, there's loads of stuff there. Helen, thank you so much for coming along. You and the library team are absolutely fantastic. And we're going to show you now a video with Catherine in the library. And I understand that the rave in the library, which I thought had died a dignified death, is still being resurrected. We had the silent rave in the library one lunchtime when we had this freshers fair. It was brilliant, actually. I'll see if we can dig it out for you later. Anyway, we're going to show you inside the actual library, which is over by that way, and hear about Catherine talking through some of the ways that you can access support from the library team. And then we will be back very shortly afterwards with, let me see what we've got on my fabulous cards. We've got David Healy and Helen Clough, and we're going to be talking about access. So we'll see you very soon.